In this video, we're going to talk about... I told you shut up. I got to make this YouTube video because your mama keep asking me this child support money. Sit. If you don't sit down... Excuse me, I'll be right back. If you don't sit your butt down, I told you. Shut up and stop crying. No one hear that. No. You hear me? Say it one more. Say something else. Say something else. I apologize for that brief interruption. I promise you won't. Sit down. Sit. And don't tell me how to discipline my child. I can discipline him any way I want. See, that's the problem with him today. Talking back because he this is what he need more than this. See, let me tell you something. See, let me take you back to a time before gentle parenting, a time before timeouts, positive reinforcements. Back when discipline meant pain and respect wasn't requested, it was beaten into you. See, growing up, I didn't just get disciplined by my parents. That'd have been too easy. Nah, I got it from my teachers, my neighbors, even a random adult who happened to be nearby. If you was bad at school, you got a paddle. If you acted up at home, you got the belt, the switch, or whatever your mama could pick up at the time and hit you overside the head with. If you ran outside to try to scrape that whooping because you thought you was fast as Carl Lewis,
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
The neighbor would grab you, beat your butt, and then send you back inside for round 2. And the worst part, crying? Oh, crying just mean you gonna get it harder. See, spanking wasn't just a session. It was an all-day event. Listen, there was no 5-minute lecture before your punishment. There was no,
I'm disappointed in you, little Johnny speech.
No, you just got your butt whooped. And if you cry too much, you know what you're going to hear? Your mama going to tell you, I'm going to give you something to cry about, even though she's been beating your butt for the last half hour. And at that point, you only got 2 choices. You're going to have to summon the strength of an ancient warrior and hold your tears in like you training for the CIA. You better clench them butt cheeks together, because if you cry too long, you're going to get hit with round 2 for acting like you disrespecting your mama and acting like you ain't got no sense. You ever try holding your cries in when your soul was leaving your body? Bro, I'd be trembling trying to control my breathing like I was a hostage situation. Just praying this chick would leave the room before I lost my control. You think you only got punished at home? Oh, no, we had school discipline. We had that. You think the tension was tough? Try getting beat in front of the whole class when there was a little girl in class that you like and you was trying to impress. And next thing you know, you got tears from your eyes and all your friends is laughing at you. That's right. Back in my day, teachers didn't send you to the office for a stern talk. They sent you to the office to get paddled. The principal had a giant wooden paddle, and it wasn't just for decoration. It had holes in it because some sadistic genius in the physics department figured out that holes reduce air resistance and make the sting even worse. And see, the worst part about it wasn't even the paddling. It was trying to sit back down with your butt on fire and your classmates staring at you like, bruh, you good? While you trying to act like you cool and your butt stinging and you clenching your butt cheeks together trying to hold it all in. Yeah, I'm good. See, back in my day, there was no escape, no safe places. Let's just say you acted up at school and got paddled. You think you in the clear when you get home? Wrong, because by the time you walked home and walked through the front door, the school already called your parents. And you know what that means? You gonna get whooped again. Now, I tried to go the legal route, tried to tell my mom, just like Johnny Cochran, I was trying to be this lawyer. I said, I've already been hit. You must have quit. She said, well, you should have been nice, but now you gonna get it twice. Bro, how's that legal? I was already serving back-to-back sentences like a criminal with no parole. I know you heard of the Neighborhood Watch program. In my neighborhood, we had a Neighborhood Justice program. Now, let's just say you was able to escape both school and home discipline. Maybe you ran outside thinking you were safe.
I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am.
Nah, the neighborhood was watching. If you act up in public, your neighbor down the street who was not your mama, who was not your daddy or no relation to you, just some old random lady, will walk up to you and say,
I know your mama, and she don't play that.
And before you can react or open your mouth, back, slap right on the spot. And the craziest part, when you ran home to tell your mama that some woman down the street done hit you and you think your mama gonna say something, she gonna say, good, you deserved it. And she gonna whoop you again. Did it work or did it just give us trauma? Now, here's the thing. Did I turn out okay? Yeah, I'm successful. I made that money, baby, and I respect other people. But did it work? That's where things get blurry. Because here's what I realized later in life. I didn't stop being bad because I learned a valuable lesson. I stopped being bad because I was scared of getting whooped. I didn't learn how to control my emotions. I just hit them way down inside. And I learned how to hold in my cries just long enough to survive. I didn't learn communication skills. I learned how to avoid getting caught. Now, I'm not saying I should have been put in a timeout or told, let's talk about your feelings. But I also shouldn't have been fearing for my life over some daggone spilled juice. See, in my day, they thought spanking was a cure for everything, even for a cure for the common cold. But if you fast forward to today, we got new research that says corporal punishment does more harm than good. In a 2016 study from the University of Texas, it found that kids who were spanked were more likely to develop aggressive behavior, anxiety, and depression. The American Academy for Pediatrics says that spanking is not an effective long term. It just makes kids fearful instead of teaching them self-discipline. Other studies have found that spanked kids are more likely to grow up into adults with anger issues or difficulty managing emotions. So in other words, spanking doesn't teach kids how to behave. It just teaches them how to fear consequences. I know what you're saying, and I don't care. He gonna get his butt whooped if he get up again. I don't care what science says. This is science right here. See, fear is not the same as respect. Fear is not the same. You gonna respect me and fear me. Now I know what you're saying. Anybody from my generation, the old school folks thinking kids today are just too soft. They need to get their butt whooped. And I agree. Kids do need discipline, but discipline is not the same as whooping kids out of frustration. See, there's a new wave of gentle parenting. Gentle parenting? What the hell is gentle parenting? See, that's where parents actually talk to their kids. I'm talking to your ass. I said sit down. I think it's a different kind of gentle parenting, though. See, they explain consequences and teach them critical thinking instead of just hitting them into submission. Yeah, that probably would have worked for me. I would have felt better. Now, instead of spanking a child for spilling juice, they teach them how to clean up. And instead of whooping them for bad grades, they sit down and figure out what they struggling with. And instead of punishing for emotions, they help kids learn how to regulate them. That sounds nice, right? But does it work? Well, studies show that kids raised without spanking tend to have a higher self-esteem, better emotional regulation, and fewer behavioral problems. So maybe, just maybe, fear is not the best teacher. So is it discipline or abuse? I don't know. It depends on who you ask. If you ask the older generation, they'll say it built character and kept your kids in line. And today's kids are too soft. But if you ask me, there is a difference between discipline or just beating your kids out of frustration. See, discipline teaches, discipline corrects, and discipline guides. But some of what we went through, that was just straight up anger with a belt. Now here's my final thoughts. So to the kids growing up today who never got whooped, you lucky. Enjoy your gentle parenting. Enjoy your negotiations and your timeouts. Enjoy discussing your feelings session. Because back in my day, if I had expressed my feelings after a whooping, I'd still be getting whooped right now. Look, drop a belt in the comments if you grew up in the area where you got your butt whooped. Hit that like button if the belt chased you around the house. Subscribe, because if you made it through the old school discipline, you've already survived the worst. And remember, discipline is good, but let's make sure we're raising our kids who learn and not just kids who are scared.